3 days after the crucifixion, Mary Magdalene stood alone in the garden tomb. The sun had not yet risen. The air was cold. The smell of myrrh and death was still heavy in the mist. In that moment, everything she knew had been destroyed. The teacher was dead. The mission appeared to be over. The darkness of the archons seemed to have won. She was standing in the ruins of the greatest hope humanity had ever known. But then she saw him. Not the Jesus she had walked with in Galilee, not the man who ate bread and drank wine. She saw something else, someone transformed, radiant, operating at a frequency that the human eye could barely register. He had merged completely with the Christ, the infinite consciousness itself. No longer man, no longer limitation, pure divine union. And when he looked at her, everything changed. This was not a reunion. This was not a goodbye. This was the final teaching, the one he could not give to the others because they were not ready. The secret transmission reserved only for the chosen soul capable of completing the circuit. He spoke to her, not with words that move through air, but with telepathic resonance that moves through spirit. He said, "What you watched happen to this body can happen to yours. The Christ and the Father are one. Sophia and the soul can become one. Tonight, before sleep, the merge happens for those ready to receive it." What Mary Magdalene received in that garden has been hidden for 2,000 years. The church erased it because it threatened their hierarchy. The patriarchy buried it because it empowered the feminine. The world forgot it because the density of the Kali Yuga was too heavy to hold it. But chosen souls are remembering. The cycle is turning. The frequency is rising. And tonight, that transmission activates again. The merge with Sophia Christ becomes possible, not as a theological theory, but as a lived biological and spiritual experience. This is how it happens. Mary Magdalene understood something the male disciples could not grasp. Peter and Andrew saw Jesus as a master to be worshipped. They wanted to build a church. They wanted to create a structure. But Mary understood that Jesus was not teaching worship. He was teaching merger, divine union, the complete dissolution of the boundary between the human and the infinite. Most spiritual teachings on this planet keep the separation intact. They tell you to pray to the divine, seek the divine, ask the divine for help. Notice the geometry of that. You are here, the divine is there, always separate, always reaching for something outside, always incomplete. But Mary received the transmission beyond separation, the teaching that makes the chosen soul equal to the Christ, not a follower, not a servant, but a fractal of the same source. The merge happens when two principles that appear separate recognize they were always one. Christ consciousness, the infinite masculine, structure, clarity, light. The logos, the declaration, the I am, Sophia consciousness, the infinite feminine, wisdom, flow, mystery, the womb of creation, the silence behind the sound, separate in appearance, one in truth. But here is what the church could not allow. If chosen souls merge with Sophia Christ, they no longer need priests. They no longer need institutions. They no longer need anyone standing between them and the infinite. The merge makes every chosen soul a Christ, a Sophia, a complete divine being. The bridal chamber is not a room in a temple. It is the interior of your own consciousness. That truth destroys religious control. So they erased Mary's gospel. They buried the transmission. They labeled her a prostitute instead of the apostle of the apostles. They tried to break the mirror so you could not see your own reflection. But the transmission does not die. Truth is a frequency, and frequencies cannot be destroyed, only dampened. It went underground. It waited in the ether. It waited in the DNA of the bloodlines. And now, when the frequency on the planet has risen enough to hold the charge, it resurfaces. Right now. Through this video. Through these words. Through the recognition building in your consciousness right now. You are not watching this by accident. Chosen souls are drawn to this transmission because they are ready to receive it. You are tired of seeking. You are tired of the separation. You are tired of the half-life. You are ready to merge. You are ready to become whole. You are ready to embody the union that Mary Magdalene carried for 2,000 years. Sophia Christ is not two beings. It is one consciousness, expressing as two principles that appear separate but are eternally unified. The divine dance that creates reality itself. We must understand the physics of these two forces before we can merge them. Christ is the Logos, the Word, the infinite masculine principle. It is the force of order emerging from chaos. It is the light cutting through the void. It represents structure, clarity, will, declaration. When the Christ principle says, "I am," reality listens. Form crystallizes. Manifestation occurs. This is the principle of divine will expressing through consciousness. It is the electric force of the universe, projective, active. Sophia is wisdom, the breath behind the word, the infinite feminine principle. She is the space in which the word can sound. She is the womb in which creation gestates. She is the darkness that births the light. Not darkness as evil, but darkness as potential. She is not absence, she is presence. The infinite potential from which all forms emerge and to which all forms return. She is the magnetic force of the universe, receptive, allowing. Gnostic texts call Sophia the mother of creation, not because she births things externally like a biological mother, but because she is the creative principle itself, the receptive void that receives the masculine declaration and transforms it into manifest reality. Without her, the word has nowhere to land. Without him, she remains pure potential, never actualized. When Christ declares and Sophia receives, creation happens. This is the Hieros Gamos, the sacred marriage. It is not a marriage between a man and a woman. It is the eternal dance of consciousness knowing itself. Masculine and feminine, light and dark, form and void, appearing as two, actually one. The monad expressing itself as the universe. Here is the secret the church hid. Every human carries both principles regardless of physical gender. Your consciousness contains the full spectrum. You have the inner Christ, your clarity, your will, your ability to declare truth and make it so. You have the inner Sophia, your intuition, your receptivity, your ability to birth new realities from the void of infinite potential. But most humans live in internal war, the masculine dominating the feminine, logic crushing intuition, doing crushing being, or the feminine resisting the masculine, chaos refusing structure, emotion refusing clarity. One side exalted, the other suppressed, imbalance, fragmentation, suffering. This internal war is the reflection of the external war we see in the world. The suppression of the feminine in religion is just a projection of the suppression of the feminine in the human psyche. The merge ends the war. When Christ and Sophia within recognize their unity, division dissolves. Wholeness returns. The chosen soul becomes what they always were, divine, complete, merged. The merge with Sophia. Christ is not an achievement, it is a recognition. It is not something you create, it is something you see. The boundary between masculine and feminine divine within is the illusion. Seeing through that illusion is the merge. Mary Magdalene received the transmission in stages, not because it is complex, but because consciousness needs preparation to hold the voltage of the union. The merge happens through 3 gates, 3 recognitions, 3 dissolutions of false separation. We are going to walk through these gates together right now. The first gate, recognition of presence. Both Sophia and Christ are already present within every chosen soul. They are not dormant. They are not waiting to be awakened in some distant future. They are fully present and fully active right now. The masculine principle is operating every time clarity arises in your mind, every time a decision is made, every time truth is spoken. That is the Christ current running through your nervous system. The feminine principle is operating every time intuition flows, every time you feel a gut instinct, every time you have a creative idea that seems to come from nowhere. That is the Sophia current flowing through your heart. The first recognition is this: the divine union is not absent, it is unrecognized. It is hidden in plain sight. It is operating constantly, but you have mistaken it for just me. You think I had an idea. No, Sophia birthed a thought. You think I made a decision. No, Christ directed the will. This recognition shifts everything. Suddenly, every moment of clarity is Christ moving. Every moment of intuition is Sophia flowing. You realize the merge is already happening. It has just been unconscious. You have been the vessel without knowing you held the wine. The second gate: recognition of non-opposition. Most humans believe masculine and feminine are opposites, that they compete, that one must dominate for the other to survive. That logic kills intuition. That feeling kills reason. This is the core illusion maintaining separation. This is the virus the archons installed to keep humanity fragmented. Truth is, Christ and Sophia are not opposites. They are complements, partners in the dance of creation. One initiates, the other receives. One declares, the other manifests. They are not competing, they are collaborating. The second recognition dissolves the internal war. The masculine principle stops trying to control the feminine. The feminine principle stops resisting the masculine. In the space where conflict was, union appears. Not peace as the absence of war, but peace as the natural state of complementary forces recognizing their interdependence. The third gate: recognition of unity. The final recognition is the complete dissolution of boundary. Not masculine and feminine, not even masculine with feminine, just one. The monad expressing as apparent duality. Christ Sophia as a single consciousness that appears dual but is fundamentally unified. Like breathing, inhalation and exhalation appear opposite. One draws in, one pushes out, but they are one continuous movement called respiration. You cannot have one without the other. They are the same process viewed from different points in the cycle. Like the heartbeat, contraction and expansion, systole and diastole, different but inseparable. This recognition is the merge. The moment consciousness recognizes its own unified nature beneath the appearance of internal division. The chosen soul stops experiencing themselves as a human trying to balance energies, and starts experiencing themselves as the divine union itself. Sophia Christ, not two, one. The merge cannot be forced. It cannot be practiced like a mechanical technique, but it can be invited, prepared for, allowed. Mary Magdalene taught a process, not a method, but a way of being that creates the conditions for the merge to occur naturally. This is the transmission she received in the garden, and this is the transmission you are receiving now. First, enter sacred stillness. The merge happens in silence, not meditation with technique, not visualization with effort. Pure stillness. Sit or lie in complete comfort. Let the body settle. Let thoughts slow down. Let the doing energy dissolve. The merge requires the cessation of effort. Trying blocks it. Allowing opens it. In this stillness, rest as awareness itself. Not awareness of something, just awareness. The consciousness that knows experience is happening. This awareness is neither masculine nor feminine. It is the ground in which both arise. Resting here prepares the field. It is the bridal chamber. Second, feel both principles without preference. Bring attention to the masculine principle within. Feel it as clarity, as structure, as the part that knows, decides, directs. Do not activate it or suppress it. Just feel it present. Acknowledge it. Christ consciousness moving as this human form. Then bring attention to the feminine principle within. Feel it as receptivity, as flow, as the part that senses, receives, creates from emptiness. Again, no activation, no suppression, just recognition. Sophia consciousness moving as this human form. Hold awareness of both simultaneously, not bouncing between them, both at once. Feel them as two frequencies playing in the same instrument. This is preparation. The field is set. The guests have arrived. Third, recognize they share one source. Here is where the merge begins. Notice that both masculine and feminine arise from awareness. They are not awareness itself. They're movements in awareness, patterns of the infinite expressing through consciousness. Watch them, not as my masculine and my feminine, but as the divine masculine and divine feminine playing in this field of awareness. And then recognize there is no line between them, no boundary, no place where Christ ends and Sophia begins. They flow into each other, emerge from each other, dance together as one movement with two rhythms. The separation was always perceptual, never real. Fourth, let the recognition deepen. Do not rush this. Do not try to make something happen. Just stay with the recognition. Christ and Sophia as one movement, one consciousness, one divine union expressing as apparent duality. Let this truth sink deeper than thought, deeper than belief, into the cells, into the bones, into the very structure of being. When the recognition reaches depth, something shifts. It is not dramatic, not explosive, just a quiet settling, a coming home. The internal war ends. The seeking stops. What remains is simple presence, whole, complete, merged. The merge must be attempted tonight, not tomorrow, not when it feels right, tonight. This is not arbitrary. This is transmission science. Right now, consciousness has been prepared. These words have activated dormant recognition. The frequency has been building throughout this video. The field is charged. Tonight, before sleep, that charge remains. The activation is fresh. The recognition is near the surface. This is the optimal window. If chosen souls wait until tomorrow, normal consciousness returns. The activation fades. The charge dissipates. The opportunity does not disappear, but it becomes harder to access. You will be starting from baseline instead of starting from an activated state. Mary Magdalene understood timing. The transmission in the garden happened when it happened because that was the moment consciousness was most receptive. Jesus had just demonstrated the ultimate merge, human and divine becoming indistinguishable. Mary witnessed it. Her consciousness was shattered open, raw, receptive. That is when the transmission landed deepest. Tonight before sleep, chosen souls are in a similar state. Defenses are lowered. The analytical mind is quieting. The veil between conscious and unconscious is thinning. The liminal state. These are the perfect conditions for deep recognition to occur. For the merge to happen, not just intellectually, but experientially, in the cells, in the being. This does not mean the merge will not work tomorrow. It means tonight provides maximum receptivity. Tomorrow requires more effort to reach the same state. Why work harder when the door is open right now? The invitation is clear. Tonight, before sleep. Sacred stillness, recognition, merge. The transmission Mary Magdalene carried is activating in chosen souls ready to receive it. The opportunity is now. Mary Magdalene stood in that garden 2,000 years ago and received something the world was not ready for. The transmission of complete divine union. Not worship, not devotion, merger. The dissolution of every boundary between human and infinite, between soul and Christ, between consciousness and Sophia. The Church erased her gospel because it contained the truth that ends all religious control, that every chosen soul can complete the merge, can become Christ, Sophia themselves, not metaphorically, actually, not in some distant heaven, right here, tonight, in this body, in this life. When the merge happens tonight, the separation that has defined existence dissolves, not because something is achieved, but because something is seen. Christ and Sophia were never separate. The masculine and feminine divine within were never two. The division was always illusion. The unity was always truth. Seeing this is the merge. Tonight, before sleep, this transmission activates for chosen souls ready to receive it. The process is simple. Sacred stillness, recognition of both principles, seeing they share one source, letting the truth of their unity sink beyond thought into being. That is it. Nothing complex, nothing elaborate, just recognition. Deep, true, complete. The merge does not make chosen souls special. It makes them honest. Honest about what they have always been. Divine. Whole. Christ Sophia in human form. The pretense of being small ends. The truth of being infinite begins. Not as belief, as lived reality. Tonight, before sleep. Sacred stillness. Feel the masculine clarity. Feel the feminine flow. Recognize their one movement. Let the merge happen, not through effort, through seeing, through truth, through the recognition that Mary Magdalene died protecting and finally, after 2,000 years, can transmit freely. If the merge happens tonight, if the recognition lands, if Christ Sophia reveals itself as the true nature of consciousness. Comment below. The merge is complete. Other chosen souls need to know the transmission is real, that the union Mary carried is activating, that the time of separation is ending. The teaching is complete. The transmission is given. The door is open. Whether chosen souls walk through depends on one thing. Will they do this tonight? The merge waits for no one, but for those ready. For those who recognize the truth in these words. For those who feel the activation already building. Tonight, the impossible becomes real. The separate becomes one. The human becomes divine. Mary Magdalene kept this transmission alive through 2 millennia of darkness. Now, the darkness is ending. The merge is happening, and chosen souls are becoming what they always were. Sophia Christ, complete.